Hi, my name is Talia. Welcome to Talia Nerds Out. This should be my last book haul video for a while. I know that I have one other book coming in. It was actually a book that I got for free through Thrift Books because I had enough Thrift Books points saved up. But that hasn't arrived yet, hence why it's not in this particular video. I'll probably just throw it in at the end of another video at some point. But this should be my last book haul for quite a while. I know I keep saying that, but I really do need to go on a moratorium. These are books I've had coming in that hadn't yet trickled in on the last video that I recorded. So, this should hopefully be quick because it's not quite as large as book hauls have been in the past. This one is The Annotated Little Women by Louisa May Alcott. And it starts off with just an introduction where it talks about looks like it talks about Louisa May Alcott herself, maybe a bit about her her writing process. Then we really live most of it. Okay, actually we really live most of it actually seems to be the biographical part. And it has pictures in here of Louisa May Alcott's family. So, actually that's Nathaniel Hawthorne's family. I wanted to find one of Louisa May Alcott herself. Okay, well this is the youngest of the Alcott sisters, Abby. So this would have been the one that was Amy. So it's lovely pictures throughout. The Alcott, what I know about Louisa May Alcott is interesting. I look forward to reading more. I also want to read at some point, I saw it on Libby. She has her memoirs or diary, I think it's memoirs, as a Civil War nurse, which should be a very interesting read. So here's chapter 1. You have some of the original, some artwork, and then you have the chapter, and then it has on the side, in the red, it has some notes, some annotations. I also like, not one of my favorite movie versions of Little Women. This is the one with Katharine Hepburn as Jo. Everyone in that cast is way too old to play any of those girls. Actually, my version of... Okay. Sorry, I had to check the time. It's 2 a.m. My family should be getting up in a few hours. Or not a few hours, in about half an hour to an hour. So, trying to make my way through this video. My favorite version of... movie version of Little Women is actually the one with... It's Kirsten Dunst as Amy. It's Christian Bale as Laurie. It's Winona Ryder as Jo. Oh, I can't pull out the other actors in my head right now. But those girls, those are my favorite. That movie is my favorite. That's the best Laurie. Everyone else is cast very well. My favorite versions of those characters. The only casting choice I wasn't particularly happy with, or the representation of the character I wasn't particularly happy with, was Meg's eventual husband, John. But he doesn't... I've not been happy with most movie adaptations' version of him. I like John, but like Beth, he doesn't always get done justice in movie versions. But Beth gets done justice a lot more than John does. And his section with Meg early in their marriage doesn't usually get touched on in movies because it's not the most important aspect of the books, but it is a part of the book that I do love very much. But anyway, this is the one, young Kirsten Dunst, as you can see. Winona Ryder as Jo is... can't quite see upside down. She's one of the girls here. I just can't. No, it's not that one. It's that the one with the blue in her hair. I want to say that's Meg. I think it's probably, yeah, it's Beth with her head on Marmy's shoulder. So Jo is the one who's next to Amy. That is my movie version of Little Women. I really don't like the one with June Allison and with what I'll just show you because I can't bring actor names on my head right now, even though these are all classic actors. I really don't like this version. First of all, Elizabeth Taylor, thank you, that was the name I was looking for. Elizabeth Taylor should not have been looking older. Elizabeth Taylor's Amy should not have been looking older than Beth. Even though this little girl did a very good job playing in The Secret Garden as Mary, she was not a good choice, in my opinion, as Beth. She did okay as Beth, but it was a bad choice to have her as Beth when you had Amy played by Elizabeth Taylor, who she looked way, in comparison to Beth, she was just too old for the part. And it was obvious. You either had to have the actors switched, which I don't think would have worked either, or you should have had an actress who was closer to, and I can't remember the name of the actress who plays Beth. I've seen her in several things. Secret Garden is the first one that comes to mind. She was mostly known during her time for crying scenes because she was really good at it. But yeah, I didn't care for the cast in this one. But the Beth Amy casting choices were particularly egregious. And I'm not a huge, I don't care for June Allison anyway. It's just a personal preference. There's nothing that I don't have any particular reason for disliking her. I just don't care for her. But anyway, you have nice bits of artwork through it. You have every once in a while they'll show pages that it's Claire Danes who played Beth. I thought Claire Danes did an excellent job as Beth in the Winona Ryder version. But yeah, I wanted to show you one other. Oh, okay. The last picture apparently is going to be the one with Christian Bale as Laurie. Who? Oh my gosh, he was so good as Laurie in the Winona Ryder version. There's a lot more in here than the movie pictures, but those kept being the ones I was turning to. They talk a little bit about Pilgrim's Progress. They show a couple Pilgrim's Progress books in here. They have some pretty pictures on the inside here. This is just an excellent book. It's one of those ones that you don't read this if you just want to read Little Women in a rush. This is an experience. I got this used. I would have never been able to afford it if it wasn't used. I mean, I would have been able to afford it, but I wouldn't have been willing to pay for that amount of money if it wasn't used. Then, this was recommended to me, and at that point, it's like, okay, when Ariane suggests a book on Bookzelots, I am putting it in my wish list on Amazon and not letting it go into my cart, or I am going to favorite it on my Libby app. I am not purchasing every single time, but this is one I did purchase based on her suggestion. An Artist in Treason, The Extraordinary Double Life of General James Wilkinson. And she recommended this. after I had finished reading the book about Dr. Rush. So I snagged this based off of her recommendation. I will probably not get this in this year, but I look forward to reading it in the future. Then this finishes up my David McCullough collection. So this finally came in on the Wright brothers. I'll probably end up lending this to my mom at some point, even though she won't get to keep it because, this came from the Chicago Public Library at one point. She won't be able to keep it because I want my David McCullough collection to be complete. Okay, actually I'm going to show this one first. The Emergence of the English by Susan Ustuzyan. Past Imperfect Humanities Press, which is just a cool name of a press. So this does an overview, several different scholars talking about the history of English language, basically, during the Middle Ages. I think that's the main focus, is during the Middle Ages. So they talk about late antique and early medieval England with language, and then it talks about ethnicity as an explanation, another perspective. I mean, it's not a long book, but the text isn't terribly big either. I have a feeling it's going to be a bit of a thick read, though, like dense. So it might not be as quick as it might appear at first glance due to the thickness of the book, due to the, literal thickness of the book. This book, I actually came upon this by accident. I don't know how many of you have heard of this. Okay, so the book is called The Last Battle. It's by Stephen Harding. I follow a YouTube channel called Wendigoon. He mostly covers things like horror history, which that's not what I watch him for because I don't like horror. But he also covers fun history things, but also conspiracies. And some of the conspiracy videos are kind of fun. But he does cover odd history. And this came up, this was his main source for this particular video. And the video was about, I'm just going to name the tagline because that's what the book and the video were about. When U.S. and German soldiers joined forces in the waning hours of World War II in Europe. And the video actually specified that it was to do a rescue mission. And she's like, wait, what? The Nazis and the Allies worked together for a rescue mission? What was this? And the Wendigoon video is quite fun. But I really wanted to read more in the book. So I found the book that he used as a resource just because he said that this was the best of the 2 or 3 books that he read. So I went for this one. I didn't register when I picked this book up because I picked it up used like I do most of my books. And it says on here, Smithsonian Institution autograph copy. I was like, nah. No one would put an autograph copy and sell it so cheaply on eBay. It's got to be a mistake. No, I have an autographed copy. So, did not intend to get an autographed copy. I have an autographed copy. So, that just adds a little extra sweetness because I don't pick up autographed copies. I pick up cheap copies that are in good shape. So that was an exciting discovery when I opened up this book. Then this took over a month to arrive. I don't know where it was coming from. I don't know if the U.S. Shipping, like the U.S. Supplier that I got the book from, if they were shipping the book from elsewhere or what it was. But this took over a month to arrive, just about a month to arrive. So this is biography of J.R.R. Tolkien by Humphrey Carpenter. And I will probably be reading this potentially. I have another J.R.R. Tolkien book that I want to read. So one or both of those will be read next quarter. Now my final one. This I blame on the Johnstown flood. Now Amazon canceled my original order for this because of whatever reason, I don't know why. The seller actually pulled out of the order. As it turned out, it worked out for me because I found an inexpensive copy that was in really good shape on eBay. So this, it smells really good too. It has old book smell, especially if you kind of smell the edges of the pages. So this is an American Doctor's Odyssey. And if you read Johnstown Flood, one of the young survivors of that flood was Victor Heiser, and he eventually became a medical doctor. This is a book that he wrote. This is basically his memoir, his travel, not diary, but this is, what does he call it in the beginning? He calls it his Adventures in 45 Countries, American Doctor's Odyssey, Adventures in 45 Countries by Victor Heiser, MD. And this is the adult Victor Heiser. I'm so excited. It looks really good. It's actually in really excellent condition, all things considered. I mean, I'll have to be careful when I get to toward the end of the book. But I don't know when was this particular one copyrighted. This is going to be along with my George Washington Creel book, where I have to be very careful because, you know, both of them are older books that I can't necessarily replace easily. This is a first edition, so early 1900s, because the Johnstown flood was in 1889, and he was a teenager, I think a young teenager, during the Johnstown flood. So this would be sometime in the early 1900s, I guess. Early to mid 1900s, I guess. So, yes. I look forward to reading this eventually. I've been keeping it in its nice little box until I can find a safe place to put it. I'll probably put it next to my George Washington Creel books, because George Washington Creel's, even though it's considered one book, his autobiography, it's split into two volumes. So yeah, that's it for my book haul. Like I mentioned at the start, I only have one other book that's supposed to trickle in, one that I got for free because I had a free book via points on Thrift Books, so I ended up having coming in. It's a literary commentary on Little Women that's called Meg, Jo, Beth, and Amy. And for free, I was like, yes, please. I'll just then be able to write all over that thing. So yeah, when that one comes in, I will just tack that on at the end of some other video. Thank you very much for joining me for this video. Hope that you have a very good day, and I will see you for the next video. God bless. Bye.